So, welcome all of you. This is the second year that we've had this now, and I think it was very popular last year, and it's a good to let the community know what we've been doing, other than at the regular city meetings, which a lot of people don't watch because sometimes they're kind of boring, but it won't be boring tonight. It'll be interesting. So, welcome. Leavenworth is unique. You're going to hear more about that during the State of the City. We're unique in that we have a commission of 5 members that the mayor rotates every year. This is my 3rd time being mayor over the last 11 years, and I'm very honored to be mayor here. But the way our Board of Commissioners is set up is that we all have an equal vote. There is no one of us that is more important than the other. The mayor each year is the face of the city. We represent the city, but we all vote the same. And we're nonpartisan, and I hope we will always stay that way. I want to talk a little bit about Scott Peterson, because he's not going to talk about himself, but he's been here a year and a half now, and he's doing, I think, a really outstanding job of leading our city and keeping us informed and keeping us on track. So appreciate that, Scott. He has some initiatives that he has started over the past year, and with former Mayor Pittman. She was instrumental in getting this, and Scott has really been great about putting these task forces together. Task forces that we put together, he's put together, increased collaboration, communication, and partnership, and working together with community partners to create success and to do projects. So one of them is a small business task force. It is made up of, as you would guess, small businesses. We hear from our businesses as to their needs. We have a lot of ordinances, we have a lot of rules in regard to small business. We want to try to make it as welcoming to small business as we can. So we are discussing possible changes in our ordinances in regard to signage, permitting. Upper story residential is a tough issue because fire suppression is such an expensive thing, so we're looking at that very closely. We have and several other items that anything that they want to talk about. I mean, it's a good task force. Another one is an economic development roundtable that is made up of LCDC, Main Street, and Chamber. LCDC provides job creation, large-scale business and industrial to generate property taxes and to create jobs, like I said. Main Street, unification of downtown businesses through beautification events to encourage shopping downtown, small business startups, and education in regard to starting a new business. I just wanted to throw out a quick thank you to the wonderful volunteers of the Master Gardeners who unify our downtown planners every year. Another part of that roundtable is the Chamber of Commerce. The Leavenworth Lansing Chamber of Commerce supports new and existing businesses in Leavenworth and Lansing, and provides advocacy for legislation which supports business development. So they are a very important part of that as well. The 3rd task force is a homelessness task force. Homelessness is a tough issue in our community, and it's gotten worse over the years. The task force is made up of rental owners and businesses, community leaders, the Leavenworth Interfaith Community of Hope, the homeless shelter, and DePaul Leavenworth Attainable Housing, and other organizations. DePaul Leavenworth Attainable Housing provides, and now they have 19 homes serving 22 adults and 18 children who are moving from homelessness to being active contributing members of our community. So that's the homelessness task force, and like I said, it's a tough issue in regard to policing, in regard to people being on the street, and we're just trying to work with that. Those are the 3 things that Scott has worked on. He's worked on a lot of other stuff too. What amazes me about the city, even after as long as I've been here, is how many different things go on during the day for the city of Leavenworth. We also, this year, I've asked Rebecca Hollister to start up a youth advisory council. Our youth advisory, we had a youth advisory board before, and since she works with youth at Fort Leavenworth, she is and she's closest in age to the youth at Fort Leavenworth, but she's put together quite a plan for bringing kids to our meetings and to learn more. I think it's so important when you look at the internet, look at other things, you realize how much our youth do not know about government and about how their streets are paved, how their parks are paid for, how our taxes are figured, and all of that stuff. So she's put together a plan to work with the schools, they're starting to get applications now, but for the next year, to learn about how a city operates, to interview with various departments, to govern their own board, to set up your own board and govern it. And then to make recommendations to the commission on ways to support youth. I think this is a very important thing that Rebecca is doing, and I appreciate her. So yes, Leavenworth is unique. We are not Kansas City. We are not Dodge City. We are the city of Leavenworth, and I'm proud of our unique, beautiful city. I hope you enjoy hearing more about us tonight.
Looking around the house, hidden behind the window and the door, searching for signs of life, but there's nobody home. Well, maybe I'm just too sure, or maybe I'm just too frightened by the sound of it. Pieces of note fall down, but the letter said, oh, it was good living with you. Oh, it was good.
The third weekend in September 18th and 19th. And I would be remiss if I didn't mention that there are two other festivals coming this summer. One, the Spirit Festival, and the other one is the Wild West Fest. And those will both be in June 26th and 27th. Thank you. And so I hope you can attend all of those, because I think it's going to be an exciting summer. Okay, we have a little award to present. Chief Kitchens. We usually do mayor's awards at the commission meeting, but I think it's appropriate to do this here tonight.
I invited
The public is here.
helpers this morning.
Go ahead and introduce them.
This is Sergeant Tesh St. John, Officer Chandler Allen, and Officer Sarah Howard.
Thank you all for coming. The police officers have been at every commission meeting for the last few months, and they've been in my neighborhood for the last few months, and in all of our neighborhoods, and helped me out to my car every time we've had a commission meeting. And they've just gone over and above. And I know you all put a lot of time in and care in taking care of us, and in helping with make the meetings, our meetings, so that they're reasonable. So I would like to read this Mayor's Award of Excellence. This certificate is presented to the Leavenworth Police Department in recognition of your exceptional service, professionalism, and unwavering commitment to the safety and stability of the city of Leavenworth. Thank you all so much.
That works.
Hopefully they get some cheesecake. Thank you.
Get some cheesecake.
Okay, without further ado, who will present the state of the city.
Spending your evening here in the city of Leavenworth and hearing all the great things that happened in the year 2025 and beyond for this great city. If you'll allow me a moment of publicly sucking up to my bosses for a second, I just wanted to thank the 5 city commissioners that we have here tonight, and of course the 3 city commissioners that departed last year and chose not to run. Combined as a group, for the last 2 years, you all have been incredibly supportive of me. You've been incredibly supportive of staff. I have never had to worry about whether or not the City Commission will provide the resources or the efforts that we need to get our jobs done. And that really means a lot to feel that we have that support, that we have the freedom to have sometimes creative and kind of out-of-the-box ideas, and to be able to workshop all that with you all. It really means a lot. I also want to say, you guys have been through the ringer the last few months. I have never seen in my career what you guys have gone through on an elected level at a community of this size. And you all handled it with grace, with dignity, with class. At least publicly, which is all that matters. I certainly don't know if I could have kept my cool the way you guys all did. And so you should be proud of how you handled yourselves individually and as a group. And you certainly guided the city forward through a very tough time, and your names are always going to be a part of that moving forward as a historical landmark or a watermark for the city of Leavenworth. So hopefully we've seen the end of the nastiness and we can move on to the productive part of our group. And I promise pretty soon I will be boring you all with budget slides and conversations on what streets to repair, the way things should go. So those of you who don't know, the 5 people in front of us here, just real quick, Mayor Nancy Bowder has taken on mayor this year. As you all know, we rotate mayor every year. Our next mayor and our mayor pro tem for this year is Rebecca Hollister, who joined us in December of this last year. Commissioner Joe Wilson will then rotate in as the mayor pro tem next year to be the mayor in 2030, correct? Or 2028, sorry, I'm counting wrong. And then we have Commissioner Maxwell and Commissioner Holly Goodman, whose terms both end in 2027. So the way this slideshow works, before I get started real quick, and by the way, Trevor, where are you? Raise your hand, Trevor. Trevor did all this, so if you think this looks way too creative for something Scott to have done, you are correct. I could not have done this, but what I think Trevor did a good job of is we know that people are going to grab this online and read it, so some of these slides kind of have intros that are meant more for people to read, and I will pass through them quickly. But 2025 was kind of a year of implementation. We focused on doing studies for public safety, housing, infrastructure, all of those operations that we did, and as Mayor Bowder mentioned, all of the things that happen on a day-to-day basis in the city that many people don't hear about, which we will try to trumpet tonight. But it is crazy. What I love about my job, but also is also very stressful, is every single day I go to work, I have no idea what my day is going to look like. And in general, I go to work thinking, okay, I'm going to get these half dozen things done, and I never get any of them done because my day gets taken over by other things. But that makes the world fun. So let me start with our finance department, since money makes the world run, right? Let's start by recognizing our finance team. 2025. I might need to switch the microphones here, I might lose the battery. 2025 marks Leavenworth's 31st consecutive year earning the...
Try to avoid feedback here, I apologize.
Is that right? Okay, thank you. Consecutive year earning the GFOA Certificate of Achievement for Excellence in Financial Reporting for the city's annual comprehensive financial report. 31 straight years. That is a huge deal. That shows the city of Leavenworth for the last 3 decades has taken your money seriously and has done what is needed to meet the standard for achieving excellence for all of our financial accounting. So let's talk just a little quickly, 30,000 foot view of what the city's budget looks like for 2026, this year. In governmental revenue, so that is generally the things that we pay with your property tax and our sales tax. We budgeted about a little under $43 million. That supports 7 major funds. Our general fund, which is where most of our salaries come out of, our operation expenses come out of, bonds, recreations, countywide sales tax, economic development, city sales tax, and pension. But again, your general fund, and then to some extent the recreation, but most of the general fund is where the most of that money goes. As you can see in the pie chart there, how that's divided up. We are a sales tax reliant community. That is in some ways a good thing, but in some ways definitely not a good thing. If you have, I'll get to a couple slides here in a minute, but you will see that if sales tax is fluctuating, which it tends to do, then you can't rely on revenue as well as you can with property tax. But the good news with having a large sales tax base is that we don't have to rely as much on property tax, and we can do our best to keep ad valorem taxes, which is property taxes ad valorem, by the way, keep those as low as we can. Expenses, we budgeted $48.67 million. So for those of you who are doing the math, yes, that is a deficit budget. We've been in a deficit for the last few years. Our finance team and our city commission and our budget team have really worked over the last couple of years to create a multi-year plan to dig us out of that. And we made significant cuts to expenses we didn't need. We've been creative with getting grants and trying to stretch every dollar we get, prioritizing our expenditures, all of that jazz that you hear at all of these speeches. But we really have done a good job of, we were kind of spending at a rate that was not sustainable. And we were dipping into our reserves too quick of a pace to, eventually we would be out of our policy, which requires a minimum of 16% of reserves, correct? We were on pace to go past that in the next couple of years. We are now dipping out of that. And thanks to the decisions of our city commission and thanks to the hard work of our staff, our budget for next year, 2027, looks like a lot better. Now, we're not out of the woods completely, but we're moving in the right direction. So let's talk again about sales tax. So since 2016, we were actually up 13%, but that's actually somewhat of a red herring, we'll call it, because if you actually look at the last 3 years, 2023 through 2025, we're losing, since our high water mark of 23, about $300,000 a year in sales tax. Sales tax is declining, so when we talk about why we've had to make some of these tough decisions in the last few years, it's because we're such a sales tax reliant community and that sales tax hasn't been there. We can explain why we gained so much sales tax in 2020 through 2022. Can anybody think of something that was going on in those 3 years that might have led to an influx in sales tax collection? Right, COVID. People were home, they had extra revenue to spend. In 2022, when COVID opened up, all of a sudden everybody had money to get out. They wanted to get out and do things, or they wanted to go out and shop and be with people and spend money. So it created somewhat of a false sense of security there. And so we overprojected, as did most of the communities in this country. We are now, thanks to Roberta and her team, more accurately projecting that so we can account for it moving forward. Okay, I'm going to move into public safety. So that includes our Leavenworth Police Department and our Leavenworth Fire Department. In 2025, we invested in safety readiness and community trust, fire protection to emergency response, mental health partnerships. We have really tried to put every single dollar that we get back into the community to serve you all. Starting with the fire department, we have really 3 divisions. You got the fire admin personnel, that's our leadership team, Chief Birch and his team. We've got community risk reduction, those are our fire marshal, our training staff, and then you have operations, those are the guys that hop on the trucks and go to calls, to fires, medical calls, things of that nature. Our current system is employee driven, so we do 48 hours on, 96 hours off. And Chief Birch has explained this from time to time on why they made that decision, and it was driven by the men who worked in the fire department. They thought it made more sense. It went from, instead of driving into work 10 times a month, to drive 5 times a month, right? So, I mean, that makes a big difference on gas. It makes a big difference on how many times you have to say goodbye to your family a month. And so that has turned out to be a pretty big success. This year, well, actually not this year, a few years ago, we ordered a fire truck, and it finally came in. That's your truck right there. And from just so you all know, the way the current market is out there, when you order a fire truck, it's about a 4-year turnaround time for when you order the truck to when the truck is actually in your fire station ready to be driven. So we have to account for that, and when we budget, Kansas finance law states that any large cash purchase you're going to make in the future, you have to have that cash on hand when you order it and throughout the term of the order. So we've had to hold on to about $1 million for 4 years in order to account for this fire truck. That money was paid for through ARPA funding though, correct? So we had ARPA funding that we had to hold on to from COVID. All the way for the last 4 years. But that fire truck's finally here, and we're very excited for it. I know Chief and his team are excited for it. I just saw it last week at the station. They're finishing equipping it. Should be in service here in the next few weeks. Department continued ISO focused preparedness and required training. So ISO is the nationwide rating handed out to every fire department in the nation. It's rated on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being the best, 10 being the not best. We have 2. And that puts us in 4, we're held by fewer than 4% of fire departments nationwide. That's a big deal. What does that mean for you as a community? The biggest impact it has on you, if you are a property owner or a homeowner, is it impacts your homeowner's insurance. The higher of the ISO rating that your fire department and your community has, it makes it lower your homeowner's insurance. Obviously, it's not the only impact. There's a number of things that go into that. But keeping a high ISO rating helps keep your homeowner's insurance low in the city of Leavenworth. And then finally, Fire Station 3. That started construction late in 2024. It is estimated to be done here in the next month or 2. If you drive by, you can see it's already up, the signs are up, and we're ready to get going and have that ready back in service. So fire and EMS in the last few years, calls have really ticked up pretty dramatically. As you can see, even from 2020, we're now at, between 2025 and 2020, we've risen by 1,000 calls a year. So that makes a huge difference. That's more wear and tear on our vehicles. That's more time spent on the road with our staff and more calls that we have to manage on a day-to-day basis with limited number of personnel. Moving on to the police department, we've got 4 main divisions. We've got your patrol division. Those are our men and women that are out there in the black and whites, keeping our streets safe, handling calls, providing 24-hour response. That also includes our traffic unit, which up until this year had been vacant for a couple of years due to staff turnover. We officially put in 1 full-time traffic officer, still 1 chief, correct, who's still on the road and now helping with traffic. We get those complaints about speeders on 20th all the time too, helping with that out. Canine unit, our previous canine dog last year unfortunately had some medical issues and had to be retired from service. We now have an officer in Minnesota being trained, and we have purchased a new dog to come and join us, and they are in the middle of training together, and we're excited to have them join us. Fun fact for you all that I think is funny, I don't know. This dog had to be shipped from Belgium because that's where these dogs are trained and raised. In case you're wondering, police dogs are applicable to the tariffs, so we had to pay a tariff on our police dog. School resource officer, again, part of the patrol division here. Investigation division. That's part of our detectives and our narcotics units. Those are people that investigate serious crimes, obviously. Services division, that includes dispatch, animal control, records, court, evidence staff. Dispatch is people that you call that pick up and answer your call and direct the police and fire to where they need to go. Animal control, pretty self-explanatory. And then we have a whole number of administrative personnel that keep the police department running every single day, that keep records, make sure that people have the information that they need to do their jobs. Specialized units that we've got a SWAT team, or one of the regional SWAT teams, so we respond to calls not just in the city of Leavenworth or even the county of Leavenworth, but outside the county as well. And we also have a bomb squad. The bomb truck, if you guys have never seen it, is actually parked at Leavenworth City Hall. We have a little garage over there. So let's talk about some of the benefits or the positives that we've seen here with mental health here in the city of Leavenworth. We talk a lot about that here with our homeless population and with our veteran population about mental health. And so, as you've seen, we've seen some serious improvements in that regard here. We have a mental health co-responder programs at the Guidance Center. We have a full-time mental health responder, her name's Andrea, that works for the City of Leavenworth Police Department, works with the Guidance Center as part of that, the results are, you can't argue with the results there. We're down to 41 suicide calls in the year 2025, up from our high water mark of 218 in 2018. So that is a huge, huge, huge win for the city. So calls in general, we're talking here for the city. We were taken upward for the last couple of years, and now we're back down to where we're kind of expecting the average to be, so that's good. Again, crime is down in the city in 2025. You guys want to take that away from the police department and pass that along, crime is down. We had 17,500 total calls for service. Excuse me. About a little over 5,400 reports taken. We issued 2,000 citations, including 1,800 traffic citations. We are pulling the speeders over. Oh, thank you. 350 domestic cases, a little under 1,000 arrests. We had 67 use of force reports. But at that point, I will notice that use of force does not mean lethal use of force. We had, I don't know how many lethal uses we had in 2025, maybe one or two. None? All right, there we go. Thanks, Chief. So when you see 67 use of force reports, that does not mean lethal use of force. And then we had 8 bond unit responses. So let's move into our infrastructure and core services. This is Public Works Department. They do all of our streets, our sewers. They manage our wastewater, trash, solid waste. All of that is run through the Public Works Department. And we have, as you know, as you all have seen, very old infrastructure in the city, which we will get into. That is expensive to repair, it's expensive to maintain, and there are a lot of tough decisions ahead of us in terms of how we're going to approach that moving forward. We did, however, just do the ribbon cutting on a new WPC administration building. That is our wastewater treatment plant. And I'll get into the plant itself here in the next coming slides, but our wastewater treatment plant is over 50 years old. Until this year, until 2025, our staff had their offices under the belt press. The belt press was literally the floor over our offices. And what the belt press does, as you guys want to know, engineers name things for what they do. And it literally was a belt that moved along and pressed the waste, and to press the water out of the waste. If you can imagine how bad that would smell in June and July, and we had people working under that for the last 50 years. So this new admin building moved it out. It's still in the facility, but it moved them away from the smelly stuff so they can get their jobs done without headaches and medical issues. So solid waste. One of the biggest operational challenges we had in 2025 was how do we move forward with trash. We used surveys and public engagement to better understand resident priorities and service expectations. What we came out as a result of that was we needed to expand our service in the coming years. In this year, we bought a new trash truck, and added a couple new employees. Next year, we'll begin the process of starting what's called a consolidation station. And this is the facility. It's in the city of Leavenworth, but it's surrounded by Lansing. Go figure. But that will, in 2026, we'll begin the process of constructing a consolidation station. That will be used to take the city's trash when we collect it from your routes, and then we will move it down to another landfill by loading it up onto a larger truck instead of taking our trash trucks to the landfill on a daily basis and putting all the wear and tear on our trash trucks. In time, we will try to look into moving that into a full-service transfer station like you see with the county, but that's several years down the road, and we'll have to do some studies in the meantime. So let's talk about stretching your dollars. We've secured a $400,000 KDOT C-CLIP funding for additional 4th Street improvements ahead of the new Centennial Bridge opening. So that project will expand what we've already done with the 4th Street project that you guys saw completed a couple years ago. We also got a $120,000 KDOT Innovative Technology Program grant. What that will do is help with the traffic along Metropolitan Avenue that is the 4 traffic between 4th and 7th Street. Essentially, I don't know the whole technical part of it. It adds fiber to the lights so the lights can communicate with each other. Instead of being on a timer or being on a radar-based system, they'll basically talk to each other and say, well, I'm really backed up over here. Can you open up over here? But in traffic signal talk. Award-winning street investments in 2025, our Public Works Department was awarded the 2025 Kansas City Public Improvement Award for that downtown 4th Street improvement project that completed a couple years ago. It was a $3.6 million project that went from Choctaw to Seneca, and the award recognized both engineering excellence and community benefit. So big award, big project, and you've seen how well our staff managed it and you're awarded for it. Back to our wastewater treatment facility. Again, 50-year-old facility. We need to replace it in the next 8 to 10 years. We did a study to determine whether we needed to replace it or just repair it and maintain it, and the cost was almost the same. So we decided that replacement was the best option. So the current estimate of that project, and yes, we have accounted for inflation, is about $120 million that we need to come up with in the next 10 years. We are doing everything we can to limit that cost to you all, the residents and the taxpayers. Mayor Bowder and I, and previously Mayor Pittman and I, have traveled to Washington, D.C. each of the last 2 years to speak with our senators and representatives to try to get the federal government to assist with that, because 40% of the water we treat comes from our federal partners, the Fort, the VA, and the prison. And while we love being their partners, we want to continue being their partners, we would certainly love if our partners would assist us in treating their wastewater. And everyone has been very receptive. They're very appreciative that we are coming and asking for money 8 to 10 years from now and not 3 years ago. And so I think hopefully we'll see some progress there. We've been turned on to some grants that they will be willing to support. We're hoping to get some funding there. We're just a little too far down the road. But just want you all to know we're doing everything we can to limit the cost to you all, the taxpayers, on that. Black & Beach, we hired an engineering firm to do the redevelopment plans for that. They just completed the master plan on that, and we will be going to the City Commission to discuss some of the options there. Ultimately, we are using an outdated treatment system that's called trickle filtration. We're going to have to move to a different system that I don't understand and can't explain to you all, but it's a different way of treating the waste. All right, quality of life and connection, the everyday experience in Leavenworth. We repaired 13 homes through federal CDBG home funding. We have a rental registration program that remained a successful tool in 2025. That's a pretty unique position. I haven't had those in any of my other positions in the 5 cities that I have worked for. It's the only city I've worked for that's had that. That's a pretty cool tool that we have. And we just had a new employee take that space, and she's doing a fantastic job of it. We are keeping up code enforcement and maintenance standards. We still take calls, so our code enforcement is mostly a call-based system these days. So we take complaints on a daily basis. We go investigate. And then finally, you all have been asking about our housing needs study. The draft study is in our inboxes and is ready for us to be read. I believe April 14th, correct, Kim, is for approval with the City Commission?
So that's the first few sections.
First few sections, all right. So a portion of that will be ready for the City Commission to read through and approve on the upcoming Tuesday City Commission meeting. We surveyed the community. We received over 430 responses. And yes, that will guide us on future RHID policy. I know we've had a lot of questions about that, especially related to downtown redevelopment. It's not all of it, but that will be a part of it. We also completed the 7th Street corridor study. That was a grant provided by the Mid-America Regional Council. That study focused on 3 core goals: beautification, connectivity, and improved economics. We had steering committees, open houses, online engagement. We really got the input from the community on how they wanted that to look moving forward. And the whole goal of the 7th Street corridor study is to beautify 7th Street between the base and downtown, and hopefully attract people to the downtown to shop, to spend their money, to eat at the restaurants, to beautify the housing along the corridor. All of that will help improve the city of Leavenworth. We expanded our transportation access. Ride LV continued in its 3rd year to be a huge success, led largely by our Mayor Bowder. To get off the ground, it is now so successful that we have 2 communities hoping to join it in Lansing and Fort Leavenworth, and they have both asked to be a part of that moving forward. In fact, Lansing is already moving forward with what they need to order a new van to get on the to get on the program through the Guidance Center and the KCTA. So Ride LV, it's a great program. All it takes is an app like Uber. It's $2 a ride. For now, it only goes to places in Leavenworth and some specific spots in Lansing. But again, the goal here is to make it available to Lansing and Leavenworth in the coming years. Our senior rebate programs in the city's clerk's office for assistance through our utilities. In 2025, we served 220 low-income senior residents and rebated over $100,000. So that's monthly bill assistance that would help our vulnerable residents pay their bills, stay in their house, keep their lights on. Let's do parks and recreation. Quality of life we shaped in the places we use every single day. In 2025, we did quite a bit of investment in our parks, mostly through maintenance. We have a lot of brand new equipment, brand new parks that our city commission now and past commissions have really invested in, and now it's our time to make sure that we keep them nice. So that's been a lot of what we've been spending our money on. Rec Desk launched in 2026. That'll allow a better program registration and facility reservations, making it easy for you all, our community, to participate in these events. Cody Park's pickleball and basketball courts are still all busy all the time. We are actually expediting the lighting at the basketball court because the basketball court has been so popular that we've moved that project up to next year, or this year? This year, because it's so popular. So that shows that we are listening and meeting the needs of the community. Continuing to expand access to everyday recreation opportunities across the city. We have a tremendous number of parks here in the city. We really try really hard to keep them nice. Steve and his team do a lot with a little, and we are, frankly, I think we're in a really great position here in the city of Leavenworth to enjoy some great parks. Some facility improvements we've done. As you guys will see, as you step out that door, our elevator is being modernized here this year in 2026. This building is very old, and so to keep up with the ADA requirements, to keep up with all the needs of the community today, we have to invest some money into maintenance. We're doing more indoor pool improvements. We did some last year. This year we're doing chlorine pump room and the filter repair. So last year was a lot of the stuff you visibly see when you go to the pool. This year is a lot of the stuff that works in the background that you need when you go to the pool but don't necessarily think about. And the Cody Park restroom and shaded plaza improvements are also a part of this year's work. Havens Park, we're starting to construct a disc golf course through that beautiful park, and that work will continue into this year. We have new trail work also at Havens Park, and as always, our seasonal programs, rentals, and family activities continue. What I think is very, very cool about all of our seasonal programs, our activities, our Easter egg hunt, our trunk or treat, our Santa, breakfast Santa, all of, not individually, but collectively as a group, all of those programs fund themselves. So they are self-paid through the people that participate, that do them, that allow us to continue doing that without drawing money from the tax base. Tourism, that's through our CBB program. Obviously, Leavenworth's identity as the first city of Kansas is one of our greatest strengths, and we try to invest in that and to encourage it. Camp Leavenworth remains our signature event for the year. This last year, in 2025, with the Gin Blossoms as our headliner, we had a record high attendance of over 10,000 people. We were kind of on the fence on whether it was going to continue. It shows that the community still wants this, as long as we provided the festival that they're looking for. The event function is a community festival, destination building tool, drawing visitors from out of town and activity to local businesses. Mayor Pittman at the time and I went down to our downtown restaurants and met with some of them, and they seemed very pleased with the amount of turnout that they had. And we will do everything we can to include those individuals moving forward. Let's talk about 2026 World Cup. That's coming around the corner here. We have begun preparing for the World Cup as a tourism opportunity. We are very much well within the scope of the World Cup's footprint, as expected. We had a $24,000 soccer grant program that encouraged local events and activities, and by early of this year, 11 local businesses had received World Cup-related grant support to do World Cup activities in conjunction with it to help bring business downtown. And as Mayor Bowder mentioned, we will be having the Spirit Festival and the Wild West Fest during the World Cup festivities as well. Hopefully draw some more people there. CBB connected multiple tour groups with Leavenworth, reunion, and heritage-related visitors. We had historic tourism efforts, including the vintage homes tour. The Spirit of the Buffalo, which are those beautiful statues that you see, of which Mayor Bowder created 2 of them, I believe. 2, correct, Mayor Bowder? Around community. I know one of them is at the Suburban. Where's the other one?
Carousel Museum.
Carousel Museum. So if you want to go see our mayor's incredible artistic vision, you can go to Suburban or you can go to the Carousel Museum. But those buffaloes are all around town. We have a number of very talented artists who put those together. You can make a little scavenger hunt out of it. It's a lot of fun. And we also did $50,000 in tourism funding, again, to support the upcoming Buffalo Bill Wild West, a historic military event that will be occurring during the World Cup festivities. Economic development, we are still looking to fill the Leavenworth Business and Technology Park. I will say, I've only been here about a year and a half, but these last few months have been the most in activity that I have seen since I've been here in terms of interested businesses, RFIs, which Lisa with LCDC helps us with, and just general activity. It appears to be picking up. We hope it's a sign of good times to move forward. Star bonds. Now that we're done with the core civic, here's the next big thing on my agenda. I know it's been quiet. This project is still, as of now, moving forward. So that will be redevelopment of the Leavenworth Plaza on 4th Street and Abels Field, also on 4th Street further down. State legislative changes have allowed dilapidated malls to now be a part of Star bond projects, so we're trying our best to take advantage of that. Where we are now with it is we are awaiting the final visitation studies from Kansas Department of Commerce, and then the city has separately ordered a revenue study, which will be on for approval on April 14th from the City Commission. We'll be picking the contractor to perform that revenue study. The point of the revenue study is to show that what the developer says this project will collect in terms of revenue is accurate. And the reason that's important is when they go out to try to get Star bonds, the people who actually write those bonds and say, yes, you can collect these bonds, need to know that they're going to get their money back, right? And so the way they do that is by having a revenue study to show, yes, this is a real project, yes, it will collect the funding that it says it's going to collect. Is the city doing its due diligence to make sure that the project will be successful? So that's why both of those studies are very important, but I would highlight the revenue study as the more important one. Gary Carlson Business Park. We have a company that appears pretty well set to move into Gary Carlson Business Park in the next couple of years. That project will bring 55 high school graduate jobs to the area, and they did not request any city incentives, which means when they are open and running, they will be paying full property tax as of today. So. Downtown and small business support. Again, as Mayor Bowder mentioned, we did launch the Small Business Task Force. They've already met a few times. In fact, we've already met enough that we now have a subcommittee on signs because people are very passionate about signs in this community. And we will also be discussing our new business licensing software that Sarah, our city clerk, is hard at work working on, and that will launch. Plan on launching January 1 of next year, but we're already hard at work finding the firm for that, and we'll be testing and tweaking internally in the coming year to hopefully launch in January 1 of next year. And then over $71,000 in city grants were provided to small businesses in 2025. So we are doing what we can to invest in our downtown businesses and community. Finally, or not finally, our annual business symposium, 2025, we again connected entrepreneurs, existing businesses to tools and resources, had 95 attendees from all over the community. We're already starting planning for 2026. So if you want to be a part of that, you want to participate, Penny Holler right there in front of me, my assistant city manager. Would love to hear from you and love to hear any ideas you might have on how we can grow that very successful event. So a couple more slides, and then I will open up to questions. We recently had a goal setting session, and yes, this will be available online, so if you don't read it all right now, you'll be able to go back and check. The City Commission came up with a number of goals that Trevor has kind of organized into some categories here, basically basing down to public safety readiness, infrastructure, facilities, and core services, parks, recreation, community amenities, downtown revitalization and business growth, and organizational efficiency and modernization. These are all items that your city commissioners have said to us as staff, these are things we want you guys to look into in the coming years to better provide service to your community. So we go directly to our governing body as elected officials every year when we get started on the budgeting process, and we say, what do you guys want to see from us? And our goal is to say, well, here's what that looks like in the budget. And is that then we'll start prioritizing some of these. Not all of these things are going to get done in the next year or two, but we will start prioritizing and saying what's the most important for this community, how do we pay for it, how do we manage it through staff, all of that. That's my job, and that's staff's job to make that become a reality. So again, thank you. Oh wow, I was pretty quick on that. I tried to be as quick and brief as possible. I didn't want to bore you all. I know we appreciate you coming this evening. I am going to open it up to questions for myself. I do have our senior leadership team is here. If there's a question I can't answer, I may hand one of them the microphone. I'm sorry to put you on the spot. I'll do my best to answer the questions, but nothing's really off the table unless I just can't answer. Do we have any questions?